This is the day 3 video of graphing systems of equations in slope-intercept form. The unique systems we'll be graphing for today might look like this system or this system when they're graphed. So this video will explain what the answers of each of these systems are. Here's our first system. So take a moment to jot both of the equations down and put both equations in slope-intercept form. While you're doing your work and solving your answer, pause the video and hit play once you have both equations in slope-intercept form and both slopes and both y-intercepts. Now that you've taken the time to solve both equations for y or put them in slope-intercept form and label your slope and y-intercept for each equation, I want to point out one quick thing. So my top equation here that I wrote in red, so this top equation right here, was in slope-intercept form. So my slope was 2, and I wrote it as a fraction, 2 over 1, and my y-intercept was 3. Okay, now when I look at the equation that I highlighted here in purple, to get y by itself, I had to divide everything by 4. So you can see I did that in this step. And my equation is y equals 2x plus 3. My slope is 2 over 1, and my y-intercept is 3. That should look strangely familiar. So both of these equations have the same slope and the same y-intercept. What that means is these two lines will graph exactly the same. So there will not be two separate lines. You'll only see one when you graph. So what I'd like you to do right now is pause the video and graph the equation y equals 2x plus 3. Hit play once your equation is graphed. Okay, I want to point out one thing here. So once your equation is graphed, it should look exactly the same as mine. Again, both of these graphs are going to graph on the exact same line, so I'm not going to have two separate lines to look at because they have the same slope and the same y-intercept. So when I graph both of these equations, I essentially get one line. And what that means is this system has infinitely many solutions. So instead of writing an ordered pair for your answer, you're just going to write many solutions. So that is my final answer. I want to point out one last thing again. Remember to use a ruler or a straight edge when you're connecting the points on your graph. Because of the iPad and the technology here, I'm unable to use a perfectly straight line. Take a moment to jot down this next system. Write down both equations and put both equations in slope-intercept form. Again, once your equations are in slope-intercept form, label the slope and the y-intercept. While you're doing this work, press pause on the video. Once you have your answers or your equations in slope-intercept form with a slope and a y-intercept, go ahead and press play and compare your work to my work. Compare your work to my work. So my top equation, the equation that I put a box around in teal, in slope-intercept form is y equals 3x plus 4. My slope is 3 over 1, and my y-intercept is 4. The equation I put the orange box around in slope-intercept form is y equals 3x minus 5. My slope is 3 over 1, and my y-intercept is 5. The next step I'd like you to do is to graph both equations on a sheet of graph paper. While you're doing this work, press pause in the video. Once both equations are graphed on the same piece of graph paper, press play to compare your graphs to my graphs. Now that both of your equations are graphed and your system looks like this, I hope you're going to notice that the lines do not intersect. They don't intersect because, if you notice, they have the exact same slope. All right, those slopes are both 3 over 1. What makes this system different than the first system in this video is they have the same slope, but the difference is they have a different y-intercept. If they had the same y-intercept, we would have been left with a situation like our first example where you would have many solutions. In this particular case, because I don't have an intersection point, I never will have an intersection point, my answer is simply no solution. And again, the reason for this is because the two lines do not intersect and they have a different y-intercept. Just as a quick recap, I know this was the first slide of this video cast. I just want to review two really important things. This system right here has many solutions because it has the same slope and the same y-intercept. So both of the equations, when you put them in slope-intercept form, essentially are the same equation, although they might not initially look like that. In this particular system right here, we have parallel lines. These two lines do not intersect. The reason they don't intersect is because they have the same slope, but they have a different y-intercept, which you can clearly see here in the graph. Because these two lines will never intersect because they have the same slope, they have no solution. So that's just a real quick review of equations that have many solutions and a system of equations that has no solution.